Okay, so we're right here. Julie, got your work up here. I was reading your writing, and I just want to address a couple of things in your writing because I think it's important. So this all makes sense. Well, first of all, thank you very much for this written rationale. It really helps me to understand where you're at if I'm able to read your methodology and your concept development, your thoughts on the ad itself. So, and this is definitely helping. So, okay, so here, this is the first thing I want to address. I adjusted Photoshop correct, softer looks, and changed the color scheme to match my needs a little bit. And I think that that's a little bit overdone because right now we've got this overwhelming kind of pink cast on all of the images, and I think that we're not allowing the natural ambiance of the each individual image to speak for itself. So in other words, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take the whole color palette of all the images and bring them as close as possible to one specific color, and that's the color that you feel is the most advantageous for use in this ad in conjunction with the colors associated with the client, right? I don't think we need to do that. I think we let the images speak for themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? So you can remove this kind of pink cast here. You can do the same thing with all your other images and just bring those more close to their natural color than trying to force them into the color palette of the ad. I really think that right now there's just too much pink going on in the ad. That's my first comment. My second comment has to do with I don't like the style guide provided. Now, that's relevant, okay? And the reason I say that's relevant is because I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound discouraging, and I don't want it to. I just want to be realistic here. As a designer, it doesn't matter what we like. It doesn't matter. What matters is what works and why it works, okay? Now, when you're dealing with a client and that client has a style guide, that's their Bible. That's their branding Bible, okay? It's not our job as a designer to look at a client and say, "Hey, I think we can do better with your logo. I'd like to change your fonts because I don't like the way they look." This is what we have to work with, and that's a really important thing to keep in mind moving forward in your design career. Is that a style guide is a style guide. Now, as a designer, you'll have an opportunity to work on style guides, but if you receive a job and that job has a style guide associated with it, that's what you have to work with. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So let's go ahead. And you mentioned that you were thinking about changing fonts, and I would have said we can't do that because this is what we have to work with, and that's a real world scenario. Okay, so this is what you have to work with. This is what you have to make it work. Okay, hope that makes sense. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to the ad. I got the ad open up right over here, and all right. So now, first thing I want to mention is I think the ad is a little too it's a little too busy. And I think the reason I say that is because there's a lot of things here that are kind of vying for attention in first position in terms of hierarchy or trying to be dominant. Let's put it that way. So we have this relaxation, right? That's a big, nice, big, fat typeface. That's great. But then you've got this logo here. You got another logo down here. You got this Stay 3 Nights, which is roughly the same size, if not larger type size than the headline. So we've got compromised hierarchy there. So this is trying to say, don't look here, look here. And then this is saying, don't look here, don't look here, look here. So you got all these things on your pages going, look at me first. No, look at me first. No, look at me first. And I just don't think it's working. It can work, definitely. So where do we go from here? My recommendations would be this. We want to, first of all, I would bring back the natural color of the sand here. Okay, I would definitely bring back that now. Let these images, let the color associated with these images speak for themselves. We bring the color back to the sand, okay? Then what we do is we're going to reduce these images a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. What we're going to do is remove this logo altogether. Now, I want to talk about this logo because there's a couple things going on. Remember I said this is what you have to work with in a style guide? Looks like you've added a stroke onto this, the letters of this logo. And that's no can do because, again, that's their brand. That's their logo. We, as designers, we can't touch it. That's what we have to work with. We have to make that work. Also looks like this logo has been stretched. And we can clearly see, if we take a look at the shape of this graphic element right here and compare it to this, which looks like the regular logo, we can see this is a lot higher and more narrow, which is telling me that this was resized and it wasn't constrained to the original aspect ratio of the logo. So what you do here is once you place that, and you know how you select it to resize it, you take your mouse over the corner, grab that bounding box and hold the mouse down and stretch it. You want to hold your shift key down when you do that. That's going to constrain the original aspect ratio, and it's going to prevent this kind of distortion. Okay, but I don't think we need this. Let's bring that down a little bit. I don't think we need this logo here. Definitely not. We have the logo here, don't need it here. Okay, next thing I would do is this. Is I would reduce the size of these images so that what we're going to do is this. We're going to have relaxation for the whole family. I think that subhead could be a little bit bigger. And always align something with something else, always. So right now you've got this for a whole family just kind of sitting in no man's land here, right? This isn't aligned with anything, and this isn't aligned with anything. So what I would recommend is either take this and align it to the end, or if you want to keep it in the middle, just align it to something, align it to a letter. My preference is to align it right there and keep it about that size right there. So you increase that type size of relaxation for the whole family. Remove that. Then what you're going to do is let this area breathe a little bit. Then right about here or so, start your body copy. Okay, and the body copy looks good. I think it looks great. So that's great. But what we're going to do is reduce the size of these images. And we're going to start those where the body copy starts. You may have to reduce, or you may have to bring this down to 3 images. It depends on how this works when you reduce it. But 3 images is fine. But we're going to align those images with the body copy. Okay. Then what I would recommend doing is taking this stay 3 nights, get a 4th free, and just use that as the first sentence here of your families can enjoy. So, or even a little bit of a headline up there for the body copy. Okay, so this would be the largest, subhead would be next, then this little headline for the body copy, and then the body copy. So each one is smaller than the last, right? So that'll preserve the hierarchy. So you have this little 3 nights, stay 3 nights, get the 4th free, then you start your type, right? So that opens up this area as well. So we're going to have a lot of nice breathing room right here, really activating the negative space associated with this ad by opening up this area here and then opening up this area here. It's going to allow the image to speak louder to the viewer by activating the negative space. Okay, at that point, so we're getting rid of that, recomposing that there, recomposing the headline subhead, get rid of that logo, align the images like so. Okay, that leaves us with the bottom of the ad, and what I would recommend is taking this and moving it to the right side for 2 reasons. Number one, it's a better exit strategy. Since we start at the top right, move our way through a composition to the right and down. This is where we typically leave a page. So let's reinforce that branding of our client by placing the logo there. Contact information would go over here. And then your shell can go, figure out where you're going to place your shell from there. Okay. Wow. That was a mouthful. But anyways, I've been thinking about this for a while. Another thing I want to mention is I don't think you need these frames around the images. I don't. I just think it's isolating them too much from the background image. I don't think we need those. Okay. Yes, that was a mouthful. So try it. I think you're going to love it. I really do. I really think it's going to make a big, big difference in the page mechanics itself. So I would recommend you make those changes. And if you want to work on it now and resubmit, that's fantastic. I'll be glad to comment again. Or you can work on those changes. Now, I would recommend you make those changes, address these issues in the ad before you start the banner ad. Because what happens here, quite likely, is going to affect the banner ad, right? At the very least, I'd like to see these changes made by the end of the class when we submit our final student work with the magazine ad and the banner ad. Great. Hope that makes sense. Let me know. If you have any questions, again, let me know. All right. Thank you very much.